So wouldn't it be nice whenever we saw others who were in cyclic existence, if we knew exactly what to say that would really benefit them at a particular moment? It'd be very wonderful to have that ability. But to have that ability, we also need compassion. Otherwise, we wouldn't speak, to that person in the way that would be beneficial. And we also need wisdom to know what to say and to have a perfectly clear mind ourselves, one without any expectations. A mind that just has the compassion and wisdom and skillful means and power to really benefit others, without expecting them to change, without expecting them to say thank you, but just where the mind automatically wants to benefit and does benefit. So being able to do that fully and completely is the state of Buddhahood. And to do it partially, then on the Bodhisattva path. But all of that rests on having good ethical conduct. Because without good ethical conduct, compassion, wisdom, skill, power, none of those things actually work. So since ordination, monastic ordination, is a very wonderful form of ethical conduct, and we're learning about it, but for the ultimate purpose of gaining the qualities of a fully awakened Buddha. So sometimes we, especially in America, we hear people say, oh, ethical conduct, that's like what they taught us in Sunday school. Don't do this and don't do that. Be a good girl, be a good boy. So we're Buddhist practitioners. We don't need to do that now. Because there's, in the Dharmakaya, there is no good and there is no bad. Yeah? Or, so you hear people say that. You hear people say, we are practicing crazy wisdom. So whatever is going to work to benefit others, even drinking and drugging or killing them or who knows what, then we do all of that, because in emptiness there's no good, there's no bad. And we're all bodhisattvas trying to benefit others. So, and then you also hear people say, as long as you have a good motivation, you can do anything. Of course, it's not quite sure if people can identify in their own experience what is a good motivation and what isn't. Okay, so you hear this kind of thing. And it's very much a big misunderstanding of what the Buddha is talking about. Okay? Because if you look, whether we're practicing the fundamental vehicle, or the Mahayana, or the Vajrayana, all three of those are based on ethical conduct. And all three of them have their own ethical codes that it's important to adhere to be a practitioner. So it's not that anything goes as long as you quickly say before it, I'm doing it for the benefit of all sentient beings, and then you do whatever you want. Okay, that's not it. So it's true, when you're in deep meditation, non-conceptual meditation on emptiness, there's no good and there's no bad, but there's also no me and no you and no tree and no pot either. In fact, there's no conventional appearances at that time. So you have to see if you've really realized emptiness. Yeah, non-conceptually. If you have, mazel tov, that's great. Yeah. Please come and, we'll all bow down to you. But if you haven't, then be careful. So I say this because, so often we want to practice a path and we want to improve ourselves, but we want to keep on with doing everything we like, and we don't really want to change all of our bad habits. Okay, we say we want to change our bad habits, but when push comes to shove, can't I have samsara and nirvana at the same time? After all, they're equal. Samsara and nirvana are the same. They're equal. So why should I change my bad habits? I'm in nirvana already. If you're in nirvana, what are you doing attending a Dharma class? What are you doing complaining about your problems? So, we have to really understand the path correctly and start at the beginning of the path and not skip over stages, because it's really rather dangerous to do that. And so there's a lot of fancy sounding words, but we've got to check out what they really mean and what is really possible and what really isn't possible. I remember being at a conference of this many years ago of Western Buddhist teachers, and one woman, we were talking about different things and different people had different opinions, and one woman stood up and she took her zabuton, and threw it across the room. And everybody's, looking. And then she said, "This is crazy wisdom because I don't agree with what you're saying." And that was my crazy wisdom way of expressing it. So that really didn't move anybody else's mind very much. It was clear that there was a lot of confusion there. Anyway, old-fashioned ethical conduct is in. Because what it means, the definition of ethical conduct, it doesn't mean following rules and having things imposed on you from outside. It means abandoning the wish to harm others. That's what ethical conduct is, abandoning the wish to harm others. Don't we all want to abandon the wish to harm others? So we see that practicing ethical conduct actually corresponds with what our own innermost wish is. Unless you really feel passionately and you want to develop the intention to harm others. Yeah. If you feel passionately and you want to harm others, you don't belong here. Okay? We can send you somewhere else. But I think, that's not any of our real intention. Okay? So ethical conduct is what helps us do what we want to do. Okay, so to continue where we were, this is the Acharya speaking to the candidate. One should know that those who go forth from household life to homeless life transcend worldly emotions and become the merit field of the world. So we talked about that last time. Thus, the king is no longer able to make you a subject. Parents are no longer to make you a daughter or a son, and you will be worthy of respect and offerings from humans and devas. So, if we look at ourselves right now, our self-conception, okay, here it says the king is no longer to make you a subject, but, we could modify that to the government is no longer able to oppress you. Okay? Because if you have a mind that's free, the government can't oppress you. But right now, we feel susceptible to what the government does. Okay? Parents who no longer make us a son or a daughter. No, we feel like we're the son or daughter of our parents, and we have to negotiate all of that. Okay? So our self-image now is really rather limited in terms of who we are, how we fit in this world. But imagine thinking of yourself, okay, because you've renounced the household life, that the government can no longer oppress you because your own mind is free. Government may limit what you do, but it can't oppress you. You can still be kind, you can still be ethical, you can still be compassionate. Parents are no longer able to make you a son or daughter, so your parents no longer dictate your life. Your children no longer dictate your life. Your siblings no longer dictate your life. Who do you listen to for guidance? The Buddha. Okay, the Bodhisattvas. And they don't dictate, they guide. Okay. But, again, think about it now, how susceptible we are to what family members think of us. Yeah? How we alter our behavior, how we alter what we think to smooth over the bumps in the family. Yeah? But in that way, many times we aren't authentic to ourselves. We get lost in that process of trying to become what we think they want us to be. Okay. And so instead of that, you will be worthy of respect and offerings from humans and devas. Now, it's not that we want respect and offerings. That's not the thing. But wouldn't it be nice to be a person who was worthy of respect and offerings? Wouldn't it be nice to be a respectable person? Wouldn't it be nice to be an admirable person? Not because other people will admire us and we have a good reputation, but because when we're a respectable, admirable person, then we can influence other people in a really good way. And we can be inspiring to them. Yeah. When you think of who your heroes were, when you were a little kid, mostly, they were respectable and admirable people. I thought Helen Keller and her teacher, Annie Sullivan, were fantastic. They didn't take no for an answer. They overcame difficulties. I thought Gandhiji was wonderful. I really liked him. Yeah. And Martin Luther King. So these are people, when we think back, who are the people that were our heroes? Okay, so once in a while, maybe it was a basketball star or a movie star or something. We can be forgiven when we were 10 years old, But if we think now, who are the people we admire? It's because they have some inner quality. So to think if, wouldn't it be nice if we could develop those kind of inner qualities so that other people felt happy, they felt hopeful, they felt inspired just by hearing us talk or seeing how we behave. Yeah. And so to have that effect on others, again, not because we want reputation or power, but just wouldn't it be nice to put that good energy into the world, especially now, because people really need that now. Okay, so in this way you're free. Yeah, you're free to become the kind of person you want to be. You don't have to try and make yourself into what your parents or siblings or children want you to be, or what your best friends want you to be, or what your husband or wife wants you to be, or anything like that. You can become the kind of person that you want to be, that you admire. So that brings a certain kind of freedom in your heart. And the monastic ordination gives you that freedom because you've left the household life and entered the homeless life. Okay. So the Acharya continues, therefore, having gone forth from home life to homelessness and put on the monastic robes, you should no longer pay homage to the king or your parents. So in ancient times, you bowed to the king, you bowed to your parents, We may not do that, but it means, you're no longer under the control mentally of the government or of family members. Okay, so you should no longer pay homage to the king or to your parents, much less to common people. So, certainly other living beings who are confused, whose minds are overwhelmed by ignorance and afflictions and karma, we certainly shouldn't make those people our guiding lights. Okay? Nevertheless, you should remember that your parents gave birth to you and brought you up. So, we may no longer be under the control of their control as monastics, but we still respect them and have a feeling of gratitude towards them for giving birth to us, giving us this human body that gives us the ability to practice, and for bringing us up and to teach, just everything that they've taught us that enables us to be a functioning adult in society. So from how to, pee and poo in the toilet, that's a great kindness, isn't it? If we didn't know how to do that, if nobody taught us how to do that, it would be a little bit difficult, wouldn't it? Okay. What about how to speak, or how to write, or how to count? Yeah. How to be polite to other people. Remember how they had to teach us to say please and thank you and excuse me and I'm sorry, and we may not have liked it at the time, but now isn't it worthwhile to learn how to be polite to other people? Yeah, because I think a lot of problems happen in human relationships just because we lack basic ethical behavior. Yeah, instead of saying, please take this to the table. We say, take this to the table, you jerk. You know? It's just basic manners. Instead of saying, please lower your voices, it's shut up, you're talking too loud. Yeah? Just, if we can say things in a nice way, we're going to get a much better response. Oh, I can see somebody must have recently said that. You know how I know? Yep. A guest told me. Okay, so their kindness, the kindness of your parents has been great. Yeah. Now I know in the West we're very good at picking the faults of our parents. Freud gave us complete liberty to blame all of our problems on them. But I think that isn't very psychologically healthy to blame other people. I think, and my own experience has been, as much as I've had problems with my parents, what has made my mind much more peaceful and happy is to see their good qualities and to see that they did the best they could given their life situation, given how they grew up, given the family that they came from. That they really did everything they could, given the obstacles they had, to try and help their kids to be good people and to have what they didn't have, even if we didn't want it. They want us to have what they didn't have. Okay? So that's kindness, isn't it? So their kindness has been great. Now sincerely bow to your parents and elder relatives and take leave of them. After that, come back and we will shave your head. And so then the disciple goes. In the back of the room we have little plaques with the parents' names. You bow, and while the disciple's bowing, then the rest of us sing, transmigrating in the three realms. One is not able to liver attachment, give up attachment and enter nirvana. That is the true way to repay kindness. So everybody's chanting that while you go and pay homage to your parents. Yeah. And really signifying you are leaving the home life. Okay? So then you do that. Yeah. Then you come back to the Acharya, your instructor, who gives you some more instructions. Okay, so then the Acharya says, a son or daughter of a good family, you have planted deep virtuous roots for immeasurable eons. I'll read the whole first paragraph and then go back and explain it. You have planted deep virtuous roots for immeasurable eons. Therefore, today you are able to encounter the Buddha Dharma and go forth, shave your head, wear monastic robes, and cultivate the Bodhisattva path. However, the practice cannot be accomplished on your own. You must live with ethical conduct. If you cultivate the virtue of ethical conduct, the water of concentration will become deep and clear, and by means of this, wisdom will arise. Due to this wisdom, the ignorance that has existed from beginningless time will be eliminated and destroyed. All seeds for future life and death will henceforth wither. You should establish the mind of going forth, generate a strong determination, and aspire to learn the path diligently in order to attain liberation. Okay? So your goal is to attain liberation. Yeah? To get out of cyclic existence. And beyond that, to attain the non-abiding nirvana of a fully awakened Buddha. So the Acharya is saying, to you, you have planted deep virtuous roots for immeasurable eons. Yeah. So that means in many, many previous lives, we've created many virtuous actions. Okay, so for a long time, we put a lot of energy into creating virtuous actions. Whoever we were all sorts of different people in previous lives. Therefore, because of who we were in previous lives, today we're able to encounter the Buddha Dharma and go forth. So just even to meet the Buddha Dharma, let alone also have the external and internal conditions to go forth. Okay? To shave your head, to wear monastic robes, and to cultivate the bodhisattva path. Okay? So whoever we were, all the different people we were in previous lives, who worked very hard so that this life we have this possibility, we need to be grateful to whoever we were in the previous lives. Yeah? So this mind that always puts ourselves down, that says, I'm unworthy, I'm incapable, I can't do it, I have so little merit, we can see that that mind is not realistic. Yeah. That mind is fake news. Really fake news. Yeah. It's Trump's lies. It's worse than his lies. Okay? With all due respect to the president. Because he has Buddha nature too, but his mind is obscured. Yeah? So we're able to encounter the Dharma. Now, when we look at our lives, okay, how many of us grew up Buddhist? Yeah? Maybe there were a few Buddhists around you, those of you who grew up in Asia. The rest of us, I don't know about you. Did you know any Buddhists while you were growing up? Yeah? So isn't it strange that somebody who grew up, like in the family that we were born into, in the environment, whatever country we were born into, isn't it strange that somebody like us managed to meet the Buddha Dharma? I mean, how many people, how many of your high school classmates have met the Buddha Dharma? I have one, Alan Wallace. We went to high school together and junior high together. But beyond that, I don't think anybody came out of that community with any interest in the Dharma. So isn't it strange, given our backgrounds, that we met the Dharma? And then, even more than meeting the Dharma, that we have the aspiration to go forth. Yeah, because there's many people in the West who meet the Dharma. But how many of them want to dedicate their life to the Dharma? And how many of them who want to dedicate their life to the Dharma want to do so as a monastic, training in ethical conduct? Not very many. So whoever we were in a previous life created unbelievable merit, unbelievable virtue to create the possibility that we now have. So we're able to encounter the Buddha Dharma, to go forth, to shave our head, take on the marks of a renunciate, shed the marks of a householder. Okay, shave your head, wear monastic robes. And why do we do all of that? To cultivate the bodhisattva path. Yeah, to try and become fully awakened by following the bodhisattva path so we can best benefit sentient beings. How many people want to do that? Okay? So you look, in the country where you were born in, or right now we all happen to be sitting in America, what percentage of the population in this country wants to go forth, shave their head, wear monastic robes, and practice the bodhisattva path? What percentage of the population do you think it is? Yeah, something like that. Very, very small percentage. So isn't it kind of, and especially when I think of myself, like I grew up in that family, I grew up in that community, and how come I think the way I think? I was not raised to be a Buddhist. I was not raised to be a renunciate. I was raised, my parents' aspiration, get married, have kids, have a career, make a lot of money, go on nice vacations. And that's how I was raised. And I'm a dud at all of that. A total failure.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
But isn't it weird that there was all that conditioning for many, many years to be a certain way, and I turned out totally different. Yeah. And I think the same is for the rest of you. Yeah? When you think of how you were conditioned, what you were told and taught as a kid, and now how differently you think, and how differently the choices in your life are. Yeah? So this is something really miraculous, don't you think? It's like, how in the world did this happen? Okay. So, it's something to feel happy about. It's something to rejoice at. And it's something not to take for granted. So, however, the practice cannot be accomplished on its own. So we cannot make up the path ourselves. You must live with ethical conduct. Like I said, the abandoning the wish to harm others, restraining ourselves from harmful actions, and then also doing positive actions. Okay. If you cultivate the virtue of ethical conduct, the water of concentration will become deep and clear. So ethical conduct is, when we talk of the Four Noble Truths, Four Truths of the Aryas. The fourth one, True Paths, included in that is the three higher trainings: ethical conduct, concentration, wisdom. Ethical conduct is the basis. By cultivating good ethical conduct, then it becomes much easier to develop concentration in our meditation. Why? Because with ethical conduct, we subdue the actions of our body and speech, so that makes it easier with concentration to subdue the actions of our mind. To subdue the actions of our body and speech in ethical conduct, we develop two very important mental factors. One is mindfulness, knowing our precepts, keeping our mind on them. The other is introspective awareness, monitoring our body and speech to see what's going on. Are we living in accord with our precepts or not? By developing those two mental factors, in ethical conduct, then those two mental factors are very important in developing concentration. So you start out cultivating them in ethical conduct. Then on that basis, to develop mindfulness and introspective awareness and concentration is much easier. Okay? So in ethical conduct, your mindfulness is focused on your precepts, your values, your principles. In concentration, your mindfulness is focused on the object of meditation. But mindfulness functions the same way in both. It holds the object so that you don't get distracted. Then introspective awareness monitors and sees what's going on. So in ethical conduct, it looks at our body and speech to see if we're adhering to our precepts or not. In concentration, it looks at the state of our mind and are we still on our object of meditation? Or are we getting dull? Are we getting distracted? Do we have laxity? Do we have agitation? Okay, so you can see it's the same mental factor, but you up it when you go to the higher training in concentration. So, but you start out developing it with ethical conduct. Okay, so the water of concentration or samadhi will become deep and clear. And by means of this, so by means of samadhi, wisdom, prajna, will arise. Yeah. So we have to generate the correct view of emptiness, but then we have to be able to keep our mind on that correct view and investigate how things exist with a mind that is fully concentrated. That's a union of serenity and insight. Okay? So that, wisdom is cultivated on the basis of concentration, which is cultivated on the basis of ethical conduct. Okay, so due to this wisdom, the ignorance that has existed from beginningless time will be eliminated and destroyed. So this ignorance that grasps all persons and phenomena to have their own essence, to exist objectively from their own side, that ignorance that is the root of all of the afflictions that make us create karma, okay, that ignorance can be overcome through the wisdom that knows the opposite of what ignorance knows. Well, ignorance doesn't know anything. Ignorance, the object of ignorance believes things to exist inherently. Wisdom knows that they are empty of inherent existence. So wisdom is the total opposite of ignorance and therefore can overcome it. Yeah. So all the ignorance that has existed from beginningless time will be eliminated and destroyed. All seeds for future life and death will henceforth wither. So when we attain arhatship, there may still be some seeds in our mind of negative karmas, that produce rebirth, but they can no longer ripen because there's no longer the craving and clinging that makes them ripen. And eventually, the wisdom realizing emptiness removes even those seeds from the mind stream. So you don't even have the obscuration of those seeds of karma anymore. Okay. All seeds for future life and death will henceforth wither. You should establish the mind of going forth, generate a strong determination to receive the ordination and to keep it your whole life and to keep it purely as best as you can. And aspire to learn the path diligently in order to attain liberation. So your goal now is liberation. Your goal now is enlightenment. Your goal now is not career success. It's not a lot of money. It's not a happy family life. It's not popularity. It's not reputation. It's not making all your family members happy. It's not getting people to love you, getting people to appreciate you, getting them to respect you. None of that is your purpose anymore. Yeah? So your whole purpose, why you're alive, is completely different. Yeah, completely different. So of course it takes a while to get your mind from where it is now into that state. But in the ordination, what the Acharya is doing is giving you the vision of where you want to steer your mind, the kind of person you want to become, where you can really have true mental freedom, so that people can say to you whatever they want, and your mind is peaceful. People can do to you whatever they want. Your mind is peaceful. They can think about you whatever they want. Your mind is peaceful. Wouldn't that be nice? So that's where we want to go. Okay. So the Acharya continues. So now the Acharya is quoting Vinaya Master Dao Xuan, who's one of the most famous Vinaya masters in China. He said, "Those who sincerely go forth are frightened by the many sufferings of the four maras, loathe the impermanence of the three realms, depart from those most beloved among the 6 kinds of kin, and abandon intense involvement with the 5 sensual pleasures. We know that all sentient beings are caught," that's the end of the quote. Then the Acharya continues, "We know that all sentient beings are caught by the 4 maras, bound in the 3 realms, tangled with the 6 kinds of kin, and indulge in the 5 sensual pleasures. Accordingly, sentient beings transmigrate in the cycle of birth and death for hundreds of thousands of eons. Having given up this body, they take another one. There is no escape. You should renounce afflictions and turn your mind to the truth. Keep the precepts, cultivate concentration, develop wisdom, engage in the myriad practices of the 6 paramitas, the 6 perfections. Cultivate concentration, develop wisdom. Oh, I said that already, yeah. Engage in the myriad practices of the 6 paramitas and learn innumerable Dharma methods. In this time when the Dharma is declining in the world, establish yourself as the banner of the Dharma. Attain a Buddha's life of wisdom and cause the lineage of the 3 jewels to continue without interruption so that sentient beings will benefit from it." Wow. Okay, so Venerable Daoshan says, "Those who sincerely go forth are frightened by the many sufferings of the 4 maras." Whenever they talk about fear in Buddhism, it doesn't mean panic fear, like, I'm afraid of dying. It means a sense of danger. You have a wisdom sense of the danger of something. Okay? So, the 4 maras, these are 4 negative forces. First one is the afflictions. Shouldn't we be afraid of the afflictions and see the danger of our mind being under the influence of the afflictions? Yep. Because without seeing the danger of the afflictions, we're not going to try and eliminate them. Okay. Second Mara, the 5 polluted aggregates. So this body, this mind, that have come about due to afflictions and karma. Okay. So it means looking at this body, and instead of saying, oh, my body is the source of pleasure. My body is so good. My body is beautiful. Okay? We're not going to the extreme of hating our body like the people who do ascetic practices do. Okay? And we're not hating our body like people who are guilt-ridden because they have desire. Rather, we are just seeing clear with a wisdom mind, okay, that this kind of body that gets old and sick and dies isn't the optimum kind of body to have. Okay. Now, we may have not even thought about that before because all we know in this life, anyway, is this body. Most of us don't remember previous lives. So all we know is this body. All we think that is possible is this body. Yeah. But that's not true. There's other kind of bodies. Yeah. When you realize emptiness directly on the Bodhisattva path, you get a mental body. Yeah. A body that doesn't experience pain. That's the nature of the mind. Wouldn't that be nice? Yeah. So instead of having this kind of body, yeah, you have a body that doesn't get old and sick and dies. And you have a body that doesn't experience pain. And you have a body that doesn't need health insurance. Okay? And that doesn't, ache all the time. And you don't get stomach aches and you don't get old. You don't have a mind that develops Alzheimer's or dementia. Yeah? Wouldn't it be nice to have a body and mind that weren't under the influence of afflictions and karma? Okay. So there's danger in the fact that since beginningless time, unless we've been born in the formless realm, we've taken bodies that all the time are subject to birth, aging, sickness, death. Birth, aging, sickness, death. Birth, aging, sickness, death. Again and again and again. And it hasn't gotten us anywhere. And we've had all the sense pleasure that you can possibly imagine that's even much better than human beings' sense pleasure. If you look at the sense pleasure in the God realm, yeah, or even the mental pleasure in the form and formless realms, much better than human realm, what we have. It makes it like what we have look like dirt. So we've had that kind of bliss and so on many times in previous lives. Has it gotten us anywhere? No. Why? Because it's under the influence of afflictions and karma. So we're not free. So all of that stuff is impermanent. It rises and ceases under the control of afflictions and karma. So it's this by nature unsatisfactory, or dukkha. Yeah. So no sense taking refuge in that, because for sure it's going to disappoint us. Yeah. So pampering our body, worrying about our body, trying to make our body look good, yeah, all of that is really kind of useless. Keep our body healthy. Use it to practice the Dharma. Keep it clean. Use deodorant, please. But we don't need to make a big deal about our body. Yeah? And with so much worry about our body. Yeah? Some people worry so much about their body. Oh, I have a stomach ache. I wonder if I have stomach cancer. Oh, there's a little feeling of tightness here. I must be having a heart attack. Our minds so easily. So I'm not saying ignore your body. Yeah. But let's not be so anxious and worried about it. Sometimes I think the anxiety and the worry create the physical problems or exacerbate the physical problems. Yeah. So of course we all have physical problems. We go to the doctor, we take medicine. Yeah. Don't go on some ascetic trip. Oh, I'm a renunciate, I don't go to the doctor anymore. Garbage. On one hand, this body is nothing to cling to. But on the other hand, it's something that is the basis of our precious human life and thus gives us the opportunity to practice the Dharma. So we have to keep it clean and healthy and moderately comfortable. Yeah. So we don't torture it, but we don't indulge it either. Okay? So we work at developing some kind of, relaxed, realistic way of relating to our body. Yeah. How many of you get anxious about your body? Yeah, most of us do. And yet that anxiety makes us miserable, doesn't it? If we really want to have a healthy body, purify your negative karma. Yeah. Eat well. Yeah, eat well. Eat healthily. But purify your negative karma. Because negative karma is what causes illness. So if we put some energy into purification, that helps. And then when we get sick, instead of going into mode, do the taking and giving meditation and think, as long as I'm sick, okay, I take medicine, I rest, I do, I have to recuperate, We're not Milarepa. So we do what we need to get our body healthy. But we do the taking and giving meditation and we say, as long as I'm sick, may it suffice for all the illness of all other living beings. And then you think of the illnesses of other living beings. You think, as long as I'm sick, may I take that all on myself. And may I use that to destroy my own self-grasping and self-centeredness. Yeah. Then that's a very good way to practice when we're sick. That way we are burning up the negative karma that made us get sick without creating new negative karma by being so attached and frantic about our body. And in addition, we're creating a lot of virtue by doing the taking and giving meditation and just accepting our situation and transforming it into one in which we practice. Yeah. Because let's face it, we're all getting older and sickness is going to come unless we die first. So we better be prepared for old age, sickness, and death. Yeah. And at some time, we're going to be right in the middle of doing something. Something's going to happen. And, for some people, something happens, and then because your body changes, your whole life changes. For some people, that happens gradually with the aging process. Some people, it may happen by getting a particular disease or by getting an accident. But one way or another, having taken this body, that's the prognosis. So this is why we want to get out of samsara, because who likes that prognosis? Yeah. Somebody told me, birth, because we usually think birth is wonderful. Oh, they had a baby, isn't that wonderful? Birth is a sexually transmitted terminal condition. Yeah. So it is. So let's practice and be ready for it. Because one time or another, it's going to come. whether we stick our head in the sand or not. Okay, so that's the second Mara. The third Mara is death. So, afflictions, the 5 polluted aggregates, then death. They all kind of follow, don't they? And then the last one is called the Son of the Gods. So this is some kind of desire realm god that interferes with human beings' lives. That's one version of that fourth Mara. Another version says that the fourth Mara is arrogance. Arrogance or conceit. Okay, different versions of that one. Okay, so those who sincerely go forth have concern about the many sufferings of those 4 Maras. Yeah? So they want, when you see the danger of those things, you automatically want to do something about it. It's like when you merge on the highway. Do you see the danger of merging on the highway? Yeah. Do you get all freaked out and panicky about it? No. Do you stay attentive? Yes. So it's the same thing here. We're aware, we're not freaked out and panicky, but we're attentive. And so we develop wisdom around those things. Okay, so they're aware of the danger of the sufferings of the 4 Maras. They loathe the impermanence of the 3 realms, so desire realm, form, formless realms. The impermanence, the fact that everything's changing in every nanosecond, and we've talked before about how we're always trying to get secure and attain ultimate security, but when things are changing in every moment, there is no ultimate security in samsara. Because it's not just the fact that they're changing in every moment, but they're changing in every moment under the influence of afflictions and karma. Okay, so that's not going to bring anything good. Yeah. One of the conditions, the disadvantages of samsara, is you go up and down. You're in a God realm, you're in a hell realm. You're at the top of the social order, you're a slave. You go up and down in samsara. There's no even keel, no permanent social status, no permanent kind of rebirth. Yeah. Always changing. Yeah. Then what else happens in samsara? We depart from those most beloved amongst the 6 kinds of kin. So the people that we treasure the most, that we love the most, we have to depart from them. So you may have been together your whole life, but at the time of death, there's no choice. Even during life, are we glued to the people we cherish the most 24/7? Yeah. Are the people you cherish the most here in this room glued to you? So all day and all night you're next to them? Would that be happiness to be with them all day and all night? Think of the person you love the most. Do you want to be with them all day and all night with no break? What do you think? Get me out of here. Give me some space. Leave me alone. Because even the people we love the most, at some point, listening to their problems is just too much, isn't it? Yeah. Hearing their jokes, laughing at their jokes again and again. Okay. having them want to hug you again and again and again. You know, it's like a drag after a while. So there's no happiness in that. 6 kind of kin. Okay, refers to close relatives. Yeah, parents and children, siblings, aunts and uncles, nephews and nieces, grandparents and cousins. So that's what the State Department should take on as the definition for close relatives, that we let immigrants bring in those people. Yeah. They left grandparents out of that, and cousins. Really ridiculous. So here it is, it's spelled out very nicely. Your parents, your kids, your sisters, your aunts and uncles, your nieces and nephews, your grandparents and your cousins. Okay? So even those people that we're closest to and care the most about, there is no choice in samsara but to depart from them, to be separated from them. And then when you think of the fact that we get reborn and they get reborn, but we don't recognize each other in future lives. You know, like all of us have been each other's parents. Yeah. When you look at somebody, do you say, "Oh, hi, Mom"? Yeah? Yeah, you're my mom. You've been my dad. And you've been my sister and brother. And my cousin and my grandparents and my kids. But we don't recognize each other that way, do we? And so the people that we're closest to in this life, next time, are going to be exactly like that. We're not going to recognize them. Yeah. They might be the mosquito buzzing around us. Yeah. They might be the dog yelping. They might be, you know, the terrorist. Who knows? Okay? Because we aren't the same person from one lifetime to the next. And we don't have the same relationships with people from one lifetime to the next. So getting attached to them is not very smart. Yeah. Treating them well, being kind to them, creating good karma in relationship with them, that's wise. But attachment is not wise, because attachment makes us suffer. Yeah? Can you look in your life and think, make at least one example of how you suffered from attachment in relationship to somebody? Let's go around the room quickly. And everybody say, who, at least one situation where you suffered due to attachment to somebody. Okay, start over here and we'll go across the front row. Agony, isn't it? Yeah, when you're attached toward somebody and the relationship doesn't work out, it is agony. And then we go on to the next relationship and develop more attachment. We don't learn from our mistakes. Yeah? Okay. Okay. And, okay. And then we indulge in the 5 sensual pleasures. Okay? You indulge with the 5 sensual pleasures. Seeing nice things, hearing nice music, smelling nice stuff, tasting good food, nice tactile sensations. We're addicted to those 5, aren't we? You know, we want a pretty environment. We want to hear nice words, nice music. We want to smell nice smells. We don't want to smell the toilet when it hasn't been flushed for a while to save water. Why do they have this policy anyway? It stinks. Some people's pee is too strong. Ooh, smells like deli in here. Okay, nice taste. Yeah. Not stale bread. Yeah. Fresh bread. Yeah. Then, nice temperature. It's too hot, it's too cold. The cushion's too hard, it's too soft. Yeah. The wind is too cool, to this, to that. Yeah. We want nice, somebody to go like this when we want it, but then stop when we don't want it. Okay. Like the kitties, they want you to pet them, and then they say stop. And we're the same way. When we want somebody to touch us, yes, and then we'll stop, cut it out. Yeah. So we go up and down all the time because of attachment to sense pleasure. Yeah. Accordingly, because of all these kinds of things, caught by the four maras, bound in the three realms, tangled with the six kinds of kin, really entangled, and indulge in the five pleasures. So accordingly, sentient beings transmigrate in the cycle of birth and death for hundreds and thousands of eons, again and again and again. Okay, because of all this attachment and so on. Having given up this body, they take another one. There is no escape, unless we practice. You should renounce afflictions and turn your mind to the truth. Truth is another word for Dharma. Okay. So in Buddhism, when we talk about renunciation, we're not talking about giving up pleasure. We're renouncing suffering. Yeah, we're not renouncing pleasure. We're renouncing dukkha. So we have to be very clear about that. Okay. Turn your mind to the truth. Keep the precepts. So now we're getting instructions on what to do to get ourselves out of this mess. Okay? Yeah, renounce afflictions. Turn your mind to the Dharma. Keep the precepts. Cultivate concentration. Develop wisdom. Engage in the myriad practices of the six paramitas, of the six bodhisattva practices, six perfections. Okay? Generosity, ethical conduct, fortitude, joyous effort, meditative stability, and wisdom. And learn innumerable Dharma methods. So learn everything in the Dharma there is to learn so that you can be a benefit to all the myriad sentient beings who have so many different dispositions. In this time when Dharma is declining in the world, Dharma is declining in the world. Do you think Dharma is degenerating now compared to the time of the Buddha? Yeah, it's degenerating, isn't it? And it degenerates from the inside, not from the outside, not due to outside forces, but due to Buddhists not keeping the precepts and not following the path properly. So in this time when the Dharma is declining in the world, establish yourself as the banner of the Dharma. So in this rotten situation, be the beam of hope. Yeah, be the beacon of virtue. Because that's what's needed so much in this kind of situation. Don't mourn, I want the perfect Dharma situation. We're born here. Let's really make something worthwhile out of our lives so we can uplift others. You know what I think it's like? You know when you walk downstairs Do you see the flowers growing out of the gravel? There's two places where the flowers grow out of the gravel. When I see flowers grow out of gravel, I just go, wow, that's fantastic. Look what that flower did. It's a beautiful flower, and it overcame all the difficulties and managed to grow out of gravel. You know, what a flower. And you notice that flower more than you notice the individual flowers in a beautiful place. Yeah? So it's saying, become that kind of flower in this world, you know, where things are really corrupt. Be that light that makes people feel that there's help and that there's hope and that there's something worthwhile living for, and that they too have the Buddha nature and can become something wonderful. Yeah. Don't just sit and go, oh, the whole country's falling apart. There's no hope. Everything's just a wreck. Yeah, if you give in to that kind of despair, then, you know, all this merit we created in so many previous lives has gone to waste. Because we got this opportunity, and what do we do with the opportunity? We sit there and we say the whole situation's hopeless, because I'm hopeless, and anyway the country's gone to pot. Yeah, everything's just corrupt. Nothing functions. Yeah, we're going to throw away eons of hard work in order to get ourselves depressed? That doesn't make much sense, does it? Okay. So the Acharya here is telling us, you know, establish yourself as the banner of the Dharma, attain a Buddha's life of wisdom, and cause the lineage of the three jewels to continue without interruptions, so that sentient beings will benefit from it. So it doesn't matter our external situation. Make these three things happen in your life as much as you can. Yeah, because it's only going to bring something good. And getting discouraged and falling into despair is not going to do any good for anybody. Okay? So especially cause the lineage of the three jewels to continue without interruption, so that sentient beings will benefit from it. Yeah? This is one of the important things about being a monastic. It's not about my Dharma practice. It's not about me having the best conditions to practice. It's about doing what I can to contribute so that the Dharma will remain in this world, so that other living beings can have access to it. Because I only have access to it because of the millions of Buddhists who came before me, who practiced from the time of the Buddha until today. Only due to their kindness, their hard work, does the Dharma still exist in this world, so that I can learn the teachings, so that I can, become a monastic. It's due to the kindness of others. So I have a responsibility to make this continue so that other people can come and benefit. I'm not a princess. I'm not the prima donna at the Abbey who waltzes in and says, Buddha Dharma, you are so fortunate to have me follow you. And I want the best conditions for my Dharma practice, and I want this, and I want that, and I want the other thing. And I'm going to remake every Buddhist institution so that it goes according to my social values. And then I will practice the Dharma. No. You know, we come in due to the kindness of all these people. So we come in as babies with our palms together saying, please help me. And then as our seniors help us, the whole lineage, and it's not just the lineage lamas, it's all the common people whose names we don't know, who kept the Dharma going in all those centuries, in all those countries. Due to all of them doing what they're doing, we're able to meet the Dharma. So we have to pass it on in our own way, make our contribution, and we're all going to contribute in different ways because we all have different talents and abilities. We all have access to different kinds of resources. So, at least do something to help the Dharma exist. So we talk about two kinds of Dharma. One is the transmitted Dharma, the other is the realized Dharma. The transmitted Dharma is the scriptures, the teachings. Do something so that you can transmit the teachings, or at least so you can publish Dharma books. In Southeast Asia, they have this wonderful tradition of people benefacting Dharma books so that people can have free distribution Dharma books. Yeah, so do something like that. Help a temple. If that's your way of helping through finances, do that. If your way of helping is by keeping precepts, do that. If your way of helping is by counseling, do that. If your way of, we all have different ways of contributing. So see what you can do and contribute with a happy mind. And a mind that feels gratitude to those who came before us, and love and kindness and compassion for the people who will come after us. So that we want them to have the best that they can possibly have. And that might be us in our future lives too. Yeah. Oh, then the second is the realized Dharma. So that is through keeping precepts and then gaining the realizations of concentration, wisdom, bodhicitta, even the lower parts of the path, realizing emptiness, dukkha, precious human life, all those kinds of things. So all the Dharma understandings, whether we have actual realizations or not, just increasing our understanding, to do that and contribute to that continuing. But gaining realizations is the best, if we can do that. Okay, so there's 2 minutes left for questions and maybe answers. Yeah. Conceptually, directly, even getting a good understanding of the scriptures, anything we can do is better than nothing, isn't it? Yeah. They can be invited to come to this ceremony. I was at Venerable Wuyan's temple when they did a Shramaneri ordination, and the parents were there. And Venerable Wuyan said very clearly to the parents, you are giving up your daughter, and she said to the daughters, you may no longer sleep in your parents' home. She's very strict with that. Yeah, if the family wants to come, it's okay. Yeah, but they come at the time when the lay people are there, and then they leave. So they would, if they were here, they would just come in at that time when the child goes and bows to them. They wouldn't hear what the acharya is saying or any of that.